What's up everyone, I'm Earl the Rookie Woodworking. For today's video, we're going to go over tips and tricks in bulk. Let's go. Let's start this video out with drills. First tip, whenever you go drilling, use a scrap piece of wood underneath the piece of wood that you're drilling through. That way you reduce the likelihood of tear out on the bottom of the piece you're working with, and you don't drill into your workbench. Now a lot of times when you go drilling with a larger drill bit like this, you have the age-old problem of the drill bit just wandering across your piece of wood. There's a couple ways to fix that. First, we could take another drill bit and start a pilot hole. Don't take much, just a little bit of a bump, and that'll make that bit stay right there. Beautiful. Now the next way would be to take a punch, put it right on the mark that you measured out, give it a little tap. Same thing, you got a little bit of a hole there, and it will keep your drill bit in place. Beautiful. And if you don't have a punch, a screwdriver will work. Easy peasy. Okay, so let's say we drilled the wrong size hole here, but we need that hole to be this big. It needs to be much bigger than that. If you try to do it with this Forstner bit like this, it's not going to work out. It's going to wander all around there and scar that hole up really badly. So how do we get that hole to be straight? What we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole in another piece of wood like this, and then we will center that right over top of that piece. Clamp it down. And then this piece of wood is going to be our guide that holds the drill bit nice and straight as we widen that hole. Just like that. Okay, so let's say we want to drill to a specific depth, but we don't want to go the whole way through this piece. We just want to go down to a specific depth. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of blue painter's tape, and we're going to set this at the specific measured depth like this, and we'll tape both ends together like that. Now what's going to happen is this thing's going to come around there, it's going to drill into the wood, and it's going to create a bunch of sawdust. Now what this will do is whenever it gets level with the wood, it'll start cleaning that sawdust around the hole, indicating that you've made it to your measured depth. Perfect. Look at that. So, are you ever drilling and then all of a sudden your drill bit just falls out of your drill? One thing about drills that seemed to take far too long for me to understand was that when you do this, you can tighten it down a little more and then you click it back and it locks that bit in and it'll never fall out. Alright, so check this out. We run into a situation where we have lag bolts. We need to run a couple of them into some wood, and they don't have screws, Phillips, or torque bits or anything like that. It takes, in this case, an 8mm socket to get it in. But you can't find your adapter for your impact driver. So what do? Because you certainly don't want to wrench on that thing because it's a mile long. So you got to come up with something else. Well, check this out. If you take a look inside the socket, you'll see these little indentations on the flat side of the inside of each of these sockets. So what are they there for? I'll show you. So what they will be used for is for the hex bit to fit right in there. Now you'll say, wait a minute, that's a hex bit. It's got 6 sides, where this is going to be 8 sides. Because it's 4 sides in there, and then it's got a notch in all 4 sides, so it would be 8 sides, right? But no, the 1/4-inch hex bit, you'll see the flat on the top and the bottom fits in against the flat nice and perfectly. But these points that are on the sides fit inside those grooves nice and perfectly. So whenever you have this bit in your drill, slide that in real quick, it fits right in there perfectly. Now with this in mind, every bit is not created equally or with this in mind. You'll see like in this bit, the hex sides don't come all the way up close to the Phillips head. So it don't reach far enough to be able to get a hold of it. Same thing with this bit. I think DeWalt has a couple of them like that too. So you have to make sure you get a bit where the hex sides go all the way up close to the Phillips head screw head if you want this to be a backup plan for you just in case you lose your adapter. So keep that in mind the next time you're shopping for Phillips bits. Now another thing to keep in mind with that is that it's not going to hold on there very well. So you're going to have to keep pressure for it to stay on there, and there's not a lot of surface area actually holding on to this. So this is really a temporary solution. You'll round that off pretty quick. So this is 2 or 3 bolts just to get us through the day, kind of a solution. It's not permanent. You're going to want to find that adapter eventually. Now the next one might trip you out. Let's say you need to erase some pencil marks and you lost your eraser. What do? I'll show you. Alright, I'm going to mark up my workbench for this one. Put pencil line the whole way across here. Now you'll find that a lot of tool companies, they make these nice rubber soft handles and stuff and pads. And I don't think they meant it to be like this, but they actually end up working out really good as erasers. So I can use my tape measure. I can use my pliers. I can use my ratchet. I can use my rubber mallet. That one works really good. And a really good one that works is your DeWalt drills. The DeWalt drill is my favorite one because it really cleans it up nicely. Like it wasn't even there. Oh, so where'd that eraser go? Oh, come on. No, but seriously, I don't want to use my drill to erase every pencil mark from now on. How am I going to hold the lead in? Now, if you're up on a ladder away from a table or something, you got a lot of screws to put in and know where to put them, and you only have so much room in your mouth, put a magnet on the side of your drill battery and put all your screws on that magnet. Oh, one fell off, but you get the point. It still works pretty good. Let's say you have a pile of sawdust right there. I don't have a pile of sawdust. I just got sprinkles of sawdust. I'm not going to create a pile of sawdust just for this. So we're going to use our imagination. And you drop a bunch of hardware in that sawdust. So it's going to be a pain to pick all that hardware out of that sawdust. So what you do is you'll take a plastic bag like this, put a magnet, a cluster of magnets, something like that, in that bag, and then just go around and it'll pick up everything that's metal out of that sawdust. And then what we'll do is turn that bag inside out and pour magnet off. Now we got a bag full of screws that we dropped. Okay, so let's say we got a bunch of these to put in, like I did the other week where I was batching out a bunch of key holders. And you do that probably 8 or 10 times at the most before your fingers start getting sore, because once you get to the last couple of threads, it starts getting really tight and you start putting a lot of pressure on your finger and your thumb, turning them in. So what you'll do to make that a little easier is you take your drill, put that in there, put it on your slow setting so it's easy to control your speed, and then you just slowly turn it in with your drill. Just like that. Now keep in mind, when you put this in the drill, you're going to ruin your threads a little bit on this one. So just keep that around and then use it every time after that. It'll just be a new tool in the shop. Did you know you can store your ladder like this? Come here, let me show you why. But you see the way the ladder is designed, the pendulum point is right here. It's all the way to this side of the ladder. So the entire ladder's weight is on that side of the pendulum. So you can store it right up against the wall and it'll just want to lean against the wall. Look at that. You can even pull it away from the wall and it just goes right back against it. That's cool, huh? I kind of debated showing this to you because of safety reasons. Because it is kind of easy to knock it away from the wall. I mean, it does have a little bit of forgiveness where you pull it out and it goes right back against the wall, but it's still pretty easy to knock down. So if you bump into it or something falls into it, it can fall down fairly easy and end up bonking you in the back of the head. So if you see this suggestion and you say, hey, I got a perfect spot to put that it'll save space, and if I just slide it in there, it'll be great. Do me a favor and put yourself a chain that hooks on both sides of this thing. That way you can just hook the dog chain up, and whenever you knock it over, it just goes against that chain and doesn't fall down and bonk you in the head. But yeah, it's a pretty good one. If you're anything like me, you got 5-gallon buckets around your shop and they get stuck together and they do not want to come apart. I got a solution for you. It's really simple, really easy. You pick up on this handle and you put your air right against the crack between the buckets. You just start pushing air into it and they come apart. That easy. Okay, so let's say you have a board for a project that you need it for that project, but it has a big crack in it. And look at that board. It's a nice board, but I need it to not have a crack in it. So what do I do? So what I'll do is I will put wood glue over top of that whole crack. And no, we're not going to just let it sit and let it naturally go into the crack, because it might not naturally go into the crack. It'll probably go down about 1/8 of an inch and that'll be about it. So we're going to help it out with a vacuum. So basically what you're doing here is you're holding your vacuum up to the back of the crack, running it in circular motions, back and forth motions, whatever motions you want to do. Just move it around the back of the crack, pushing glue into the crack, and then recoating it with more glue as needed until you get glue to start to squeeze out and show at the bottom of your crack. And then apply clamps to close the cracks and let it dry. Let's take a moment to talk about utility blades, specifically the ones that have the blades that come out, and as they wear out you can just snap the end piece off. Now a lot of people use the pliers to go ahead and break that off, which is fine and dandy, it works. But if you don't have pliers, what you can use is the back of the utility knife. It comes with its own blade breaker. It has that little slot. You just stick the blade in that slot and it snaps right off. Then make sure you put the blade in a sharps container where you can seal it off and throw it in the trash. That way it keeps your trash man safe. It's kind of surprised me the amount of people that I've run into in my life that don't know this about these utility knives. But if you take this screw out, it takes this whole side off, and you realize that you can take this blade out and spin it around, and you can get twice the life out of an individual blade. And the utility knife also stores extra blades. Most of them come with extra blades. So I don't know what people that don't realize that are doing. I don't know if are they throwing away the knife after the blade wears out? I have no idea. But yeah, it's wild to me how many people didn't know that. So if you didn't know that, I'm glad you do now. But that is going to be it for this video. That's a good bit to squeeze in this size of a video. I have a lot more that I could probably make a video about the same size. If you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, do me a favor and hit that like button. And also, if you have some tips and tricks that you want to share, because everybody has their own wealth of experience and knowledge. So hit them comment section below and try to load it up full with tips and tricks so that the next person reading the comments can learn from you as well. And I would love to learn from you as well. So yeah, load it full of your tips and tricks, and maybe we'll put them in the next video. Also, if you want to see more woodworking content, I have a lot of that over in the channel. So hit that subscribe button and go over to the channel and check out the other videos that are there. But until next time, make something awesome. Oh, and one final tip for this video: don't wear a white t-shirt in the shop. Yeah. I didn't even do anything. I don't know how I got dirty. I don't even know what this spot is. That looks like, is that from lunch? I didn't have anything messy for lunch. Whatever. I just won't wear it again.